Hi everyone, Emma here. I'm so excited to show you how to make this lovely pink earring. So basically all these earrings are the same design. So I just use the different opaque colors from the Cylin Beads from John Bead. So huge thank you to John Bead and to everybody there that's worked so hard to get these out in the market to us. And found a bead there. Sorry. Squirrel. That's how I am with beads. Like, I see a bead. So we're going to do this one here. So let's take a look at what we're going to need. You're going to need whatever ear wire you have. Use what you have. This triangle, I'm trying to think what they call them. Now I get them, I think there's like 60 in a package. These are actually gold plated, so they're kind of nice, which is great. And yeah, so of course you're going to need 2 of those to work with. You're going to need some beading thread. I'm using Miyuki. Let me just adjust that. So I'm using Miyuki beading thread, color number 4. And this is, I think, blush pink or something. So we need that. You're going to need a size 12 needle. Oh, I got 2 here. Let's see which one's the best one. I really should use the new one. There's barely any hole. Both of these. That one's pretty good, actually. And we're going to need, of course, we've got our Cylin beads. These are 11-0 seed beads. They're cylindrical, so they're awesome for this type of brick stitch. They sit together really nice. And I have to say, I didn't mention it in the color video that I just did. These are incredible. The sizing is perfect. I have not found any damaged beads or any, sometimes you'll get tiny ones or sometimes you'll get 2 stuck together. I haven't had any of that at all. And not only have I done all of these, but I've done a whole bunch of other projects. So I'm super stoked about the quality. This is called Opaque Soft Coral Pink. It is so beautiful, this color. And you're going to need the gold AB. Let me grab that one here. This is the gold AB. So you can see how luxurious this is. I'll just put that there. And you can buy these like this, strung, and like that one, strung. Or which they're more expensive to buy them that way. So if you're doing beadwork where you take your beads right off of the thread, then it works better for you. But it's not as expensive if it's in the bags, and this is what the bags look like. So there's 25 grams in the bags, 23 grams on these hanks. So since all I had was hanks, I ended up just cutting a few of the threads off and putting the beads out. You don't need a lot of beads for this, which is so cool because that means you can make more projects. I love little projects like that. They're so nice you get a sense of accomplishment when you finish something. And these really, really are so exciting because the beads just make the design pop. So the opaque colors are incredible. So I had mentioned in one of the previous videos about doing, I get a lot of questions about different ideas for craft fairs. And one of the things that I saw somebody talk about was making small projects to sell when, like, if you have a lot of big stuff that's expensive and people maybe are going just for fun to the sale, not specifically to buy stuff, so they won't, spend $60, $80, $100 on a beautiful design that you've done. But a pair of earrings like that easily would, I think fetch maybe $20 for a set. And tell me. So you don't need a full wingspan. I'll measure it for you. Get my ruler here. So what I have cut is 24 inches is all you need. So I'm going to take this and let's see if I can. That's a little better. I'm kind of looking at the camera to make sure everything's in focus. So here's something I have to say about the Miyuki thread. You saw how easy that was. So this thread is pre-waxed, so it's really smooth. Okay, so I'll just do that. And we're ready to go. So as you can see on this one, we're going to do the first line, which is attached up here. And I'm just going to point this out. I added 14 beads on the first row. And the reason I mentioned that was on my set of yellow, the first one that I didn't put the beads going all the way to the end. You see how this is? Let me enlarge this a bit. You see how this is right at the edge, this bead here and this one here? I had it going just pretty much straight this way. So it only was 13. And when I got done my pattern, this area was pretty small. Like you couldn't tell by looking at it, but it was. So my suggestion is to do the 14 beads on the top and then work your way down. So, and just to let you know too, this is my first time ever doing brick stitch. Surprise! So if there's things that I'm doing wrong, let me know, politely of course, because you don't want to hurt my feelings, and it would. But the other part to this is I never do anything the same way. Let me adjust the camera again. I like to do it my own way. So the first step I'm going to show you is doing it my own way. I did notice that most beaders that I've seen do the brick stitch, and maybe I'm looking at the wrong videos, is they put a knot in, and then when they start going, that knot kind of shrinks into the bead. I don't want to do that, and this is how I take care of that. So to start with, I've got my one bead. I'm going to go through my triangle, and I'm just using my fingers to hold the bead in place. You can see like that. Bring my needle through, and I'm going to bring it right down, leaving a bit of a tail. It doesn't have to be a lot, just enough to get a needle on there and weave through a couple of beads. And we'll come back to this at the end and weave it through the work. So if you can see now, I'm going to come down through the bead in the same way that I came out. So I came out from the top. I'm going to come down through the top and then cinch it up. Now, of course, this is loose, so you have to still hang on to that. Once you get a couple of beads in, it'll be fine. You won't have to hang on to it. So take your next, and you can put this anywhere. Once we get a couple of beads on, then we'll tuck it to the side. So our next bead, go through your triangle, pinch your bead, put your needle through. That, and this is in the way here. I actually do hang on to that tail to get it out of the way. Okay, so now we're going to take our needle and go through the top of the bead. So if you lose your bead like that, just take a look at where your thread's coming out of. It doesn't matter if it's like that, you can see it's quite long, it'll cinch up next to the other bead, like that. No big, just hang on to that tail. Do your next bead. Go through your triangle or whatever shape you have. I mean, this design specifically works with the triangle because we're making a triangle. So now we're going to come up through the top of that bead and pull your thread and cinch it up next to the ones you have on there. Pick up your next bead. Oops. Okay, go through the triangle, hang on to that bead. Got my tail hooked. Let me do this again. Like that. Go through the triangle and go through the bead from top to bottom. And you can see how that. This is definitely something that's difficult to do on videos. So there's 4, so I can let go of this now, the tail. You might want to hang on to it to just keep it from tangling in, and just scooch it right to the end and get that nice and snug. It's your next bead. Go through the triangle, hang on to that bead, your thread through, go up through the top, pull down and cinch it. Pick up the next one, hang on to that bead, go through the top of the bead. I'll try and do it now where you can see it, where I'm not pinching it. If that gets loose, just pull it a bit. Okay, let's see if we can do this without grabbing onto it. It's kind of hard because you don't want the bead to go through your triangle. You want to keep it next to the bar. So let's maybe try it this way, like that. Come back down through that bead. That, and pull it. Your next bead. Bring it through. Go down through the top of the bead. Go from the front to the back of the triangle, then pass through your bead from the top. And you can see that moved a bit, that's fine, we'll just scooch it over. And even if you get all the beads on there, you can still, and I'm going to move this a bit, this is a bit closer to me. Okay. Pick up another beautiful Cylin bead through the top from the back and snug it up. Pick up another. Oh, wrong way. and down. You have to find, I'm a real expert now. Go figure. You have to find what works for you with holding the bead. So that was one of the things I did see in the videos is they give you different techniques on, how to hold your bead so that it doesn't go through what you're attaching, so that you can actually hook it on to the whatever you're working with. So these, I think, are called I can't remember what they call them. I would just do a search like triangle connectors or chandelier connectors. If you know what I'll do is I'll get the name and put it in the description. And that's the other thing too, is I will put all the I will put a link for the Cylin beads that you can get both in the US and in Canada on Amazon through the craft shop. So this is probably the last one. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. So you could see if I move these guys over that this would easily fit within the triangle. But that extra one I found was just gave it the right size. But you don't have to do that. So let's get this one in there. And go through the top of the bead like that. And there we go. So there's your first row. Look at how easy that is. If I only knew. You know what it is? There's so many different things you can do in beading that, you can't be good at everything. Okay, so your next row, you're going to start with 2 beads. And I never understood this when I saw it in the videos. So I'm going to do my best to show you what works. So you need 2 beads. If you look down here, we're going to, of course, it's already attached through this thread, but we also have to anchor it. So since we have 2 beads, we want to anchor this just inside of this. So you think 2 beads, then I need to go 2 of these connections down here. So there's 1 thread across, then the 2nd thread across. You're going to put your needle through that, like that, kind of hooking that thread. Okay, and you'll see what happens. So you can see this almost looks like herringbone. We don't want that. We want it to sit nice and straight up and down. So since we're coming out near this bead here, we're going to go through that bead. And you can pull it tight now and it will straighten out that one. But we also have to straighten out that one too. So our thread's coming out of the top, or if you're doing this way, the bottom. You're going to go through this bead here and just that bead right now. Bring our thread through like that. And then you're going to go up because we need to be coming out of this bead to add the others. So you're going to go up the other bead like that. And this is like magic. You pull nice and tight and it cinches everything down. Like that. There. Lovely. That's what it looks like. Okay, so now we can continue on. We only need 1 bead at a time. So pick up a bead. And if you look, you're going to look for the very next thread bridge and you're going to put your needle through that with your bead on your needle. And again, this is another area where you're going to find what works for you with your finger placement. So now I've got it a bit loose. You can pull it tight if you want, but it's easier if you leave it loose. Now we're going to go up through the bottom of that bead, like that. And that will secure that bead, and then just pull it tight. Look at that. And you can touch it next to the other guy. And you're just going to do that all the way along. So pick up a bead, grab the next thread bridge, pull it through, go up through the bottom, and cinch it tight. And you can kind of nudge these guys. I like it to be a little more close together on that there. There we go. Pick up a bead. So the first 2 rows in this design are the main color that you're using. So that's what they look like. And this is the second row. So pick up a bead and just making sure I didn't already. Okay, pick up a bead. Find the next thread bridge. Pull your thread through. And come up through the bottom of that bead. Bring your thread all the way through and pull that till it goes in place. Pick up a bead, grab the thread bridge, pull it down and go up through the bottom. There. Pick up a bead, go through your thread bridge. So I always keep it consistent with the one side too, as I'm always coming through the same way. So kind of working towards me. Makes it easier to pull your thread. But if you're left-handed, you might find a different way to do this. So pick up a bead, go through the thread bridge, come up through the bottom, and try not to pierce your thread. Surprisingly, this very thin thread, the needle still finds a way. It's not me, it's the needle. Cursed needles. What would we do without them? I better not curse the needles. I like my needles. Okay. So I have a bunch of stuff to show you and designs and tutorials, and yeah, we're gonna have some fun. So we'll just continue for the last couple of beads on this row. Pull it down. So you can see how quick and addictive this would become. So I think my next design will be a fringe earring where I do the triangle part and then the fringe. And I did see they have like a 2-drop brick stitch. I don't know if that's what they call it. That's what I'm calling it. And that looked really easy too. It's basically the same thing, only there's 2 beads that you go through every time. So let me know if you've done brick stitch and what you like to do. I am just blown away. I am definitely going to be taking my skull design and turning it into brick stitch because I feel like there's way too much thread in it. Okay, so this is the last one. This is the last thread bridge that we have. Now we have to be careful with our tail here, because if we pull too much on that thread bridge, it will loosen that bead. Not a big deal. You can just pull this tight again, but I'm going to avoid that. And so I've got my bead. We're going to grab hold of the thread bridge. Oh, look, 2 beads. Take your turns. Well, you can see, look, it already loosened, but that's fine. I'll tighten it. Like that. And that there. I'll pull that and pull this. And that is set. So now we're going to move to our 3rd row. Let's take a look at our 3rd row. This is our 3rd row, the gold. And I'm laughing because you see how many earrings I did. And it wasn't until one of the very last ones that I did that I finally remembered to put 2 gold beads on. I always started with a gold and a pink or whatever color. And that's not the design. So again, we're going to review the starting stitch. You pick up 2 beads. So since we have 2, we want to make sure we go back and go through the 2nd thread bridge, and that'll give it enough space. So like that. And pop this down. You're going to go up through the bottom of that 2nd bead and pull it tight. Then you're going to go down through the top of the 1st gold bead, like that. And then we're going to go up through the 2nd gold bead so that we're ready to start adding. And it straightens everybody out and it gets them all attached properly, like that. So now we can flip it this way and take a look. We're going to add our next gold bead, go to the very next thread bridge, that, and then go up through the top, or like through the bottom to the top. And there we go. So just continue this to the end. You can see how fast this gets. I mean, not that you want to go fast, you want to enjoy what you're doing, but it's one of those things that's very satisfying to see it come together. And these beads are just gorgeous. Yeah, they're lovely. That. So go through thread bridge, pull it down, go through. And it's kind of easy to get back through the bead because the row previous to it is staggered from the row you're working on. So there's a spot to put your needle to get through. So I'm sure if you're like me, there's been designs you've done of different type of beading, and it gets frustrating because you can't get your needle in past the thread or whatever it is you're working on. It's supposed to be fun, right? And let me tell you, this is fun. I'm already thinking of a big mural in brick stitch that I can do. You know, you know what they say about Emma. She likes to go, if you can go in a little bit, Emma will go all the way. Yeah, that would be so cool. Actually, I think I did see a video. Somebody had done a bunch of like square tiles. I don't know if they used brick stitch. I think it was peyote. And then they attached them all together into this big mural. And this is the last one of the gold. And you can see it's the last thread bridge. So the part that I like about this, I don't have to think about decreasing. It's a natural decrease with this design. And I'm sure that's why there's a lot of designs like that. Okay, so the next row we are going to do is below the gold. So you're going to do a gold and then the rest pink and end with another gold. So you're basically just putting your gold on the edge in whatever color you're using in the middle. Just to let you know that the Cylin beads are glass and they have been tested for their color, durability. So no worries. They are 11.0 and they are the same size as some of the other tubular beads on the market. So you can interchange this pattern. If you don't have any of these, you can use what you have on hand. So we picked up a gold and a pink, and we, again, like I said, since we have two beads, we got to go 2 thread bridges. So there's the first and there's the second, like that. We're going to come up through the bottom of the pink. And I like to pull that one up to get it straight, but you don't have to. You can do it all at once. And go through the top of the gold bead. That. Now we need to come back up through the pink, so we're ready to add the next beads. And then pull them tight. That. Now the rest will be pink until we get to the end. And I'll just keep trying to think of some stuff to talk to you about. I do find it's important to show you this process because maybe that's why sometimes I would get frustrated. I'd see brick stitch patterns and they would try to throw everything at you. They'd throw the decrease, the increase, the pattern, whatever you're attaching it to, things like that. And it was really overwhelming. Like it would be really difficult to remember all that stuff without actually having the video and sitting down and doing it and pausing the camera or pausing the video so that you can see if you've got it right and what the next step is. And I do recommend, if you're starting something new where you've never tried it before, that's the best way to do it, is put your supplies out, get started, thread your needle, and then start the video and pause it and do the next step. Do it that way. Trying to do it now, some people can do that where they can remember. They'll see it once and they're like, okay, got it. For the most part, I am that way, so I'm surprised that I didn't. But preconceived notions, I guess. Yeah. So just going through the thread bridge with a bead, pick up a bead, go through the thread bridge, come back up through the bottom of that same bead you added. And this is the second to last bead, the last pink. So now we're ready for a gold at the end. That. pick up a gold bead and go through the last thread bridge. That. Go up through that bead. I need new glasses. Go up through the bottom. And pull it tight. So there is what we have so far. So we're going to just keep doing that. And because there's going to be one thread bridge less each time, it's going to create a peak. So we'll start the next row with a gold bead and a pink bead. We're going to go 1 and 2 to the second thread bridge. So I thought this part 2 was really difficult. So I don't know why, because it's actually pretty straightforward. So up through the, sorry, I went through the wrong one. Look at that. You always go through the first bead that you, or the one you're coming out of. So we attached it here. We're going to go through this bead. That. Then go down the gold. And then go up the pink. That, and then we're going to add the rest. Let's see how fast I get. Get the stopwatch on. The other part that's good with this, only using the 24 inches of thread. When I started, I was using a full wingspan, which is probably more like 36, so an extra 12 inches. And you think you're pulling all that thread through. First of all, your thread's going to get, damaged doing that. So it's kind of counter. You want your thread to be as intact as possible. But it goes faster because you're pulling less thread. So I'm hoping to do some Halloween designs. Definitely work on the skull. I'm pretty sure I can do the skull. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do the hole. I guess I'll have to see if I can find a video. When my wife and I were doing renovations in the house. This is so mean of me. Well, we had a couple of contractors come in, and they were terrible. They were like dictating the terms of the contract. They haven't even got the contract yet. Things like, I get paid at the end of every week. I'm going to do the gold one. That's the last one here. Yeah, I said to my wife, yeah, you know why they want to get paid at the end of the week is because if they decide that job's too hard for them to do or whatever, they can just leave you high and dry with a, half finished job. And we were getting our bathroom redone. So you don't want to be without a bathroom. Let me tell you. So after so many months of looking and trying to figure out what we're going to do and try and agree, because I wanted, being the princess that I am, I wanted her to do a double sink and put a door in to the main bedroom so that we could enter the bathroom from the bedroom. We're in a really small semi that's like, yeah, I had very grand ideas for such a small. So once I finally figured out that no, that was not going to happen. Like, okay, I'll deal with one sink. So I told her, I said, you know what? I'm confident in your skills. You can do the plumbing. I'll even find some YouTube videos for you. Oh my gosh, this was like 10 years ago. She still talks about it. You fooled me into thinking I could do the plumbing. She did it, but I mean, that's the thing about doing the renovations yourself. It takes a long time compared to, somebody who has all the proper tools and they have a vested interest to get in and get out so they can do the next job. Last summer we had guys fix the whole side of our house that had dry rot. The first day they had the whole wall down. The second day it was closed in. I was like, holy moly, they are fast. So it was nice. Yeah. Our renovation days are over. We're getting too old for that silliness. So the renovations we did all the floors, and we had carpet in all through the house. That's how we bought it. And we had to tear up all the carpet. All the flooring was done, all the countertops. So kitchen countertops, bathroom countertops. And like, how do you live? And we did the renovations ourselves. Now we contracted the flooring guys to come in, but we left that till last. We didn't want to be painting and doing drywall and stuff like that. We had to totally tear apart the bathroom. The bathroom walls were all crooked, so we had to fix the studs so that the wall, when we put the drywall on, was straight. Oh man, it was... So we had to use the basement bathroom in the middle of the night when you're exhausted from doing construction all day to have to get up to go pee. I tried to use the bucket and didn't work. It was all down my leg and on the floor. I'm like, I guess I'm going downstairs. So back to the next row. Go into thread bridges. Go up the one you're coming out of. Like that. Go down the gold. That. And go back up through the pink one so that we're ready to start adding the rest. And like you see, this starts to get really quick. We had the neighbors on either side of us offer their shower. So the first one time we used one neighbor and then the other time we used the other. I didn't like, first of all, I'm covered in drywall dust and paint and stuff. I don't want to walk through their nice house and then dirty their bathroom. So we had a gym membership. We would go to the gym, and of course, when you're doing stuff like painting, it's like it's done when it's done. You don't decide, okay, I'm done painting this wall and half of it's not finished, or you've poured a bunch of paint out. You don't want to have to pour it back in the can and stuff. So it was really difficult, but we'd go to the gym and use the shower there and just soak in the hot tub. Yeah, we were so exhausted. It took us, I think, 3 months to do everything. So yeah, the floors, countertops. So we couldn't eat. Like, we could only eat whatever was in the fridge because the countertops were gone. So we couldn't do any prep of the food. I think in the mornings I did like eggs on toast kind of thing, like a sandwich, breakfast sandwich. And then we were too tired to do anything at night, so we ended up getting pizza. We ate pizza every night for 3 months. Oh my God, I was so sick of pizza. And of course, we were sick. It was like that documentary about the fast food. Super Size Me. We were so sick, like the sodium levels and whatnot. And I was drinking soda pop now. I don't drink. I drink unsweetened or sweetened, sugar-free. What I'm trying to say. But yeah, we're old girls now. And you know what's weird? People, like, we still look really young and fit, and we do a lot of working out and stuff. So some people that don't really know us don't, they're shocked when we tell them how old we are. But the people who know us, they're starting to like act funny around us. Like we're old. What's up with that? I can remember my wife said to me, we were driving home from the doctor's office. She's like, why does the doctor want to see us every month? Because we're senior citizens. She wants to make sure we're okay. And we're on a bunch of drugs that she has to monitor. Jen's like, no. I'm like, yeah. She's starting to realize she may have something. So I hope everybody's doing good and healthy and your families are okay. You're having fun with the grandchildren. My sister came to visit a week and a half ago, and she was telling me all the fun stuff she's doing with her grandchildren. Man, they're so cute. I remember I was in nursing school when she had her daughters, and they were so much fun. So it's funny, that first one I was saying about the spacing. I wonder if it was just a small bead. But I mean, you can't see that. I would like to say a shout out to I'm terrible with names. Diane. So Diane was one of my first subscribers, and she is a hoot. And we had so much fun, like with videos and comments back and forth and stuff like that. And then I didn't hear from her, and I knew that she had some issues with cancer. And it's really sad. You think, I've had some subscribers pass away, and their family members contacted me to let me know. So it's kind of sad. So I was like, oh, I wonder what happened to her. And I don't know if I'm pretty sure I would have sent email and never heard anything back. And just yesterday, I got a comment from her and an email. She had a stroke. That was so sad. So we love you, Diane. And you're going to get through this. So she gets to come home in 2 weeks. So that's exciting. So pick up 2 beads, your gold and your pink. Go to your second thread bridge. So I might take a little more thread. You see how I've extended it here. This will definitely finish this, but I can see the threads already looking a bit shabby there. So definitely, I said 24. I would go to 20, 30, 30 inches. Diane would also, she had breast cancer, and she would go, I would send her a bunch of beads, and she would take it to the, I guess, the treatment center, the breast cancer treatment center, and she would show the women how to make bracelets and just keep them company during their treatment and stuff. So just a super, super person. As I'm sure most of you are as well. Like I'm always amazed when I hear what people are doing. It's so nice to be part of this community. And so we're getting near the end. How lovely is this? Oh. Okay, so again, we're going to pick up 2 beads, starting with our gold and our pink. We're going to go over to the second thread bridge, away from where our thread is. So there's 1, 2, that. I'm trying to keep this centered, but maybe I move my chair, it would be better. So go up through the pink, pull that down, go down through the gold, and then back up through the pink. And this happens all the time. There we go. And just a little bit of a tug and it will straighten them out. So now we want a pink. Up through the pink. And we need a gold. That. Up through the gold bead. So now we need 2 beads. We need a gold and a pink. Go through the second thread bridge. So this is the first one. There's the second one. The gold ones are a little harder to see. Just like that. Go back up through the pink from the bottom. Talk about measuring it exactly. You only need my biggest anxiety when I'm doing videos is running out of thread. And you know what was funny? When I was in Toronto, before I left, I was worried that I was going to have withdrawals from not beading. Can you imagine? I'm surrounded by beads. I'm going through withdrawals. I need hemi needle stat. Need to do some beading. Baby squirrels. Not going to make it. So this is going to be our last one. So you can see there's 2 thread bridges and there's our last pink. So we're going to put 2 golds here. Let's grab those there. Grab the second thread bridge. That. Pull through. Go through the first gold. That. down, go down through the second gold bead there, and go over to the first gold bead, go through and cinch your, I always put my fingers there so that, you know, if you pull this, it will yank on your whole work. So I opted to finish with just the 2 gold beads to end it. I did try to see if there was a way that I could put 1 single bead there with maybe a 15 OC bead, but the 15 O looked massive compared to these. I did see in some videos that people will end it with the sideways bead, so you could do that too. That actually doesn't look too bad, but I'll tell you what, I don't like seeing the thread on the edge. So let me show you what that would look like. Give you an idea. So you kind of see the thread on the edge. It's really tiny, but I decided to leave it out. So you tell me what you think if I need to get over it. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of this thread, and again, I don't want knots. So I'm just going to go across to the other bead again. I'm going to go up maybe 4 of these gold beads and just kind of like use your nail to move the bead up a bit so that your needle will come out. And we'll just do that. Then you want to change your direction of your thread. So I'm going to go across from this one into this third pink one, and then we'll go down through the 3 beads. You can go through the gold at the end as well. There, went through the gold. That. Just move this over here. Pull that through. And when you're pulling your thread through, if you can pull it, and you'll hear a bit of sometimes it's not doing it on that one. You'll hear the thread like pop into place, so you can't see it, that crossover that we did. And that's it for this. So just be careful when you're clipping this thread not to clip the other. So actually, in all my other designs that I did, I didn't go through the gold. I stopped at the pink and then cut it. So be careful doing this. There, like that. And you're set for that one. And now we will weave in this tail. So again, I mean, I'm pretty good at this, but if you might want to add a little more thread on your tail so that you're not bending your needle to get around. So we're coming out of the top edge pink. So I'm going to go through a few of the edge beads. So a pink and 2 golds like that. Pull that in and pull it nice and tight. And again, we're going to cross over. So you take the thread over to the bead next to it there. And we're going to go up through a few of those. So yeah, you see my needle just have to take it out a bit. There. And go through like that. These ending your threads like that, in my opinion, these are not structural situations where you're going to get stuff pulling on it. If it was a bracelet, it'd be different. You'd want to make sure that that was properly secured. So you might go back around the other side and that would prevent it from moving. And then just clip that. Ta-da! So let's get our lovely butterfly findings. And I've got some 4mm jump rings. Oh, I need the other. Grab my pliers. So I'll just hook that in here. These holes are really small, but I love these butterflies. I'm not a big butterfly person when it comes to beads. I don't, even though butterflies are nice, they're still insects, and I'm afraid of insects. So I don't want them touching my skin. Silly, huh? But these ones are so beautiful. These are gold plated. They're the only butterflies allowed to touch my skin. I come by it honestly when we were really young, like 3-4-year-old me and my sister. My older siblings used to tell us horror stories about people getting attacked by insects and stuff. So I would have nightmares. Those were the old days. I can't imagine somebody telling a kid, a 3-year-old, a horror story. That's how they played back then. Oh, these are... Oh my gosh. I don't know what to say. This is like crazy. Between these, and let's bring out the others because the pink is just blowing me away. But oh my gosh, the yellows. This would be good with a green. And I just bought, actually I should show you. They just came today. You've seen it here first. They had a bunch of different greens. I was like, I want them all. So these are opaque spring green. Yeah, these would look lovely. Look at that. What else? Oh, I wanted to mention. So it's funny, you might not think of ordering black, but I like to do like designs like the skull. So it's nice to have a black to do the outline. But I'll tell you, as soon as I saw the black, I was like, oh, I so have to make something gold and black and really kind of decadent looking. And then we have our fun orange. There's a cat at my door. Oh, kitty. Oh, I have to tell you, this was so funny. So I got a bunch of, oh yeah, I have a cheap pair of, or set of pearls on my door handle. And the idea was if my wife needed to get my attention, that she would just kind of swish the beads back and forth, and I'd know that she wanted to talk to me if I was doing a video. The cat has totally taken over. So he comes to the door, and when he wants the door open, he scrapes the beads back and forth. These are the turquoise. And the chartreuse. These are so lovely. These remind me of like fun summer colors. Look at that. There. And then the blue. And the reds. Oh. There we go. So huge thank you to John Bead for these delicious beads. Oh, so excited. So don't forget, the links are in the description. If you have any questions about the beads and anything else, let me know. And I hope you're all doing well, and we'll see you in the next video. Lots of fun, crazy stuff coming. The curiosity box is... I have it in my hands. You'll see it on Monday is the unboxing. So stay tuned. Take care, everybody. Bye.